Just before I hit the 2 month mark after surgery, I decided I was going to get on my bike and do some pedaling. It was nice out and I didn't want to stay cooped up at home doing my PT exercises. I wanted to go out, hang out with friends, and just experience what it would be like to have fun again. My new physical therapist didn't exactly clear me to go bike riding. He was concerned that if I had to make a hard stop and reflexively use my leg to do that, then I might do some damage. I wasn't really concerned about this as a possibility given how rare it was. I knew it was a risk and I was willing to take it. I continued to be grateful that I had switched physical therapists. This is what he had me doing at week 8, curtsy lunges with a barbell on my back. I felt really strong doing them and I wasn't really concerned. A lot of the fear that I had that my knee would give out just faded away when I noticed that I was able to do a lot of the movements, and I think that confidence was great for me. It was a beautiful summer in Seattle, and with my knee rehabbing, we had to be a little bit more creative about how we had fun. We did some kayaking, but a lot of what I stuck to was cycling. This was what helped me get out of the house and just enjoy the outdoors in a big way while strengthening my knee. Cycling felt casual. My knee was never in pain from it, my muscles were never sore from it, and I was just happy. Exactly 2 months to the date after surgery, I biked over 50 miles in one weekend. Still, I was craving some adventure. It was a summer and I wanted to have some fun, and ideally not on pavement. We got on our gravel bikes and went into the woods. I didn't know much about this route, and it ended up being a lot more adventurous than I was ready for. There were overgrown shrubs, loose rocks, sudden drops, and there were a few close calls. If there was a lesson to be learned, it was to avoid any surprises. Just a few days later, I went on a gravel path that I knew really well, and ripped it. I felt strong, and I was just thrilled to be back on the bike and couldn't imagine how depressing this would be if I didn't have my bike. I took my first break from physical therapy to visit family on the East Coast for a week. It was a lot easier said than done to do the physical therapy exercises on my own, even though I knew exactly what to do and I had all the equipment I needed. I just didn't have the motivation to keep at it the way I did at home. This is what it looked like 11 weeks after my surgery. We were working on some agility drills. And then eventually we did some coordination and balance stuff. It was a lot of fun to be at PT, and I always look forward to it. It felt like every week or so I was just able to do more things, like I could discover new skills that my body wasn't able to do a week before. Also, 11 weeks after surgery, my friend Greg was visiting. I wanted to show him a good time, show him how beautiful Washington was, so we went on a hike. It was a great day for it, but I noticed that during the steep descents, my knee just required me to go a lot slower. It ended up being fine though, even the snowy parts. That same day, we also went on a bike ride. My knee felt pretty normal, my legs felt great, maybe a little sore. The one thing I noticed I wasn't able to do was just burst uphill. I had to pedal up slowly. Greg thought it was hilarious that in one day I could hike and I could bike, but they still gave me an accessibility permit as if I needed it. Of course, the most important thing was to stick with going to physical therapy and doing all the weird things they had me do. This is something called perturbation, where I think you try to resist being jostled around, where these weights on rubber bands are bouncing and constantly making me feel like I was going to tip over. My shoulders also feel like they're going to rip off. You could bet that every weekend I was going to be on my bike. It was the only thing that can get me closer to being in the mountains where I really wanted to be. That weekend, we rode about 75 miles total, and I felt great despite the heavy load of physical therapy and intense training at home. All that strength training was paying off. This is me at the 13-week mark doing some single-leg box squats. I was surprised, I'm still surprised right now that I was able to do these so soon after surgery. My surgeon was also a little shocked. I kept a vision in my head of what I wanted to be like after the whole physical therapy rehab process. I wanted to come out much stronger than I had been when I was injured, which is a pretty tall order since I was pretty fit going into the injury. This just meant I had to do everything that I could to make my legs stronger, make my core stronger, make even my arms stronger, make my mind stronger. I started meditating. I changed my entire diet. Here's me doing some deceleration training, and you can see how slow I am, which isn't surprising at the 13-week mark, where ACL is just starting to become an ACL then. But I include it as a basis of comparison for later. You can see that slow stop. In addition to cycling on the weekends, I decided to also try doing a little bit of swimming. Well, it was less like swimming and more like water aerobics, where I was doing jumping and running exercises while in the water. Here's what I look like at 14 weeks on the agility ladder. This motion felt pretty fluid to me, and I ended up getting a lot faster at this as my physical therapy progressed. This is also at 14 weeks, doing some strength training and some deceleration as well. That's a 50-pound medicine ball that I'm tossing up in the air, rolling back to me, and repeating over and over. I can't remember what this is called, but basically I start on my tiptoes with this weighted bar thing, and I come down into this position, which is supposed to train my deceleration. And I watched this video a lot to try to catch the differences between my left and my right. I'm a lot faster and smoother and snappier with my unoperated leg, which is the left side. I had my right knee operated on. I'm also not sure what this one's called, but it's intended to train my balance and my deceleration at the same time. So this is one of the ones that probably scared me the most when I first saw it being done. It looked like I was trying to rupture my ACL by just landing right onto one knee. But the goal was to slow myself down, of course. You might also pick up on the fact that I'm alternating legs in addition to training both the balance and the deceleration. The idea is to also strengthen both legs. A lot of physical therapists might focus on one leg. Certainly my old physical therapist that I ditched was only caring about my operated leg. I think that's a mistake. Well, at least it would have been a mistake for myself. I wanted to get stronger out of this. A lot of folks worry that they'll have this massive gap if their uninjured leg continues to get stronger. I didn't really care about the gap. I just wanted my entire body to be stronger and more capable. So if that meant doing an extra set on my unoperated leg, I was totally fine with that. That excited me. One of my favorite things to do at physical therapy was sled dragging backwards and sled pushing. I love this, and it's become really popular over the last few years because of the knees over toes guy. I looked into doing some of his program on my own, but ultimately I think the only thing I incorporated from his program was the tib raises, since I didn't think we were specifically training my tibialis when we were at PT. But in any case, sled dragging, sled pushing, really fun. Highly recommend to everybody. So I'm not sure what this one's called, but I included it because you can see how intensely they're training me at physical therapy. This was the last workout of the day, and this is at 14 weeks, and they're pushing me pretty hard, and I felt it. I was drenched in sweat after every day, and I was always ready to hit it again the next day. Also at the 14-week mark was when I did my largest single day push on a bike since the surgery. It was about 63 miles, 62 miles, and 5,500 feet of climbing near the Mount Rainier National Park. And it was tough, but I was able to do it, and I felt really strong that day. I felt like I could bike to the summit if it was possible. So this is at the 15-week mark. I'm doing a lot of sled dragging in all sorts of different directions, forwards, sideways, etc. And like I said, I really enjoyed this and felt really strong doing it. So that same day they had me on this exercise, which I don't know the name of, but it's some kind of perturbation training. The goal is to resist falling. while they shift the weights back and forth. And this is a very heavy bar. And as the weights move and are taken off, you get jostled, of course, and it feels like your knee is going to be ripped apart from the inside. It's pretty risky, but I eventually did get better at it. But you can see how much I'm struggling with this. I can barely make it through a few seconds. So I think these are called drop test or hop test. I'm not sure, but the idea is to land on your one leg and try to absorb the impact and stick the landing. That's the most important thing. So they graduated me to a balance pad, which challenged my balance a little bit more. And eventually we were doing some more complex movements that you can see that I'm much more timid about the steps that I'm taking. I'm taking them very gingerly, and it's fun to see how far along I've come since then. At the 17-week mark, I was feeling a lot more confident on technical gravel terrain, mildly technical, I should say. And I was doing a lot of solo adventures in the woods and getting some incredible views and just having a lot of fun, and was really grateful for the strength in my legs. Whenever I had the chance, I did go to the water to practice jumping and running since I wasn't yet cleared to do that. I was wondering why my PT hadn't cleared me for running, and finally, at week 18, this is what he had me do. I started doing some light jogs forward and backwards, and I felt great. I wasn't at all concerned with my knee, and ultimately I was really glad I waited because it was all smooth, and I think I ran about a half mile that day. This is also at 18 weeks. My PT had me do these fast feet drills, which is run as fast as you can, but move slowly. That makes any sense. It's pretty exhausting. You can tell how tired I am and how much in pain I am by my face, and it just totally smoked me. So this is me at 21 weeks, and I'm with my least favorite exercise tool, which I think is called the Quake bar. So you hang bungee weights off of it, and you have to just try to keep your balance. If you go too fast, then it jostles you around, and this was probably my least favorite memory from PT the entire time I was there. I am struggling through this, and my arms are killing me, and I just got to get through it. You can see my form even starts to, go poorly, and I am trying to just get through this exercise, which is not the right mindset to have. I should focus on clean, quality reps. I'm supposed to do a knee drive here, and I am barely doing it. I just want to get through this exercise as quickly as possible. Here is me doing some strength training and balance as well. It is pretty intense and grueling. Yeah, they pushed me hard at PT, and I was excited about it. I wanted them to. This is me doing some drop exercises, and you can see since the last time I showed myself doing some drop exercises, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with the drop, and I'm going a little deeper in my knee. This is that same 21-week mark. I'm doing some balance and proprioception, bit of core strengthening as well. I eventually ended up advancing this movement to incorporate some coordination as well. The reason for the coordination was to distract me from my knee and just focus more on the ball. So it's more intuitive, the whole balancing motion. Instead of thinking about my knee and my leg, I'm focusing more on something else. In this case, a tennis ball that I'm throwing back and forth. This is a more advanced movement at the 21-week mark where I do these skater jumps, and my PT tells me to stop suddenly, and I have to stop and hold and stick that landing, which means that the faster I go, the harder it is to stop, because there's a lot of deceleration and control that I need to have. And then while holding that stopped position, he'll drop a tennis ball, and I have to catch it, I think within one bounce, and then stick the landing on one leg, which is very hard, and you can see I'm always favoring my unoperated leg, and I struggled a lot through this one. So this is me doing some agility stuff at the 22-week mark. My agility's gotten a lot faster. So 22 weeks is exactly 5 months in my case. And you can see I'm a lot smoother than the last time I showed me doing some agility. And I enjoy it. It was fun. I felt quick, light, and fast. Here's another one that I thought was interesting. I attached myself to this rubber resistance band, and I have to accelerate forward as much as I can and slowly allow myself to return back, and the slower the better. While recording this, I just noticed that it looks like there's a massive difference between my left unoperated leg and my right. I mean, there was a difference. The difference looks a little exaggerated because of the position that my legs are in right now, but I didn't focus so much on the symmetry of my legs. A lot of people focus on that, and I think that's not the point. The point is to get your legs equal in strength and ability and agility and all that stuff. You know, the size, it'll come with time. That doesn't really matter unless you're a bodybuilder and you need that symmetry. The symmetry will come. So it's not something that I focused on. I was initially thinking about it a lot, but then I learned very quickly that what good is it to have legs that are the same size if they can't do the activities that you want to do safely. So this is a fun one. This is me doing some deceleration drills where the PT calls out a color, orange, blue, yellow, or red, and I have to run 5 yards to that cone and stop on one knee. So that's training my deceleration, and you can see if you compare it to the last time I did deceleration drills, I'm a lot snappier. I still felt really slow and clumsy doing this, but it's a big jump from where I was before. This is also at the 22-week mark, and my PT had us practice some explosiveness, and I wasn't sure if I could do this, but eventually I was able to do it, and then I threw in a leg switch, which my PT said if I feel comfortable I should try it out. So it was fun. These were like the fun exercises, the explosive stuff. So this is one where my PT told me to run up the stairs in 2 steps as fast as I could, and it was quite scary because I felt like I was going to trip over the steps. So now this is me at 24 weeks post-op, and I'm a lot stronger. I have been doing a lot more strength training, some more explosiveness, and I should also note that I hadn't done any strength training or plyometric training for that matter since I was in college, and I barely did any of that stuff before. So a lot of my training has been on doing endurance and going to the climbing gym, doing some body weight work. I haven't had a gym membership since college, I would say. So I saw a lot of rapid gains by having structured training in a gym setting. At 25 weeks, my PT wanted me to do some return to sport testing, not because he expected I would pass, but so that we could have a benchmark so that we can test monthly. This is me running at max sprint for 50 yards and then running back for 50 yards. My sprinting technique is not great, but I ended up doing this in less than 16 seconds. So this is the very next day. I'm still sore from that max effort from the return to sport testing. I'm supposed to catch this ball and turn around and catch another ball. I accidentally did this spin move, but it ended up being fine. Freaked me out a little bit. I am supposed to catch the ball, turn around, and then catch another ball. And you can see how uncoordinated I am and clumsy. I didn't play any team sports growing up, so this was fun, but also funny for my PT. And I still had a great time. And here's me catching some footballs there's a lot more clips of me not catching the football. I still had a great time.
Every day is leg day. Yeah. You got 1,000 pounds over here, or kilograms.
270.
It was true. Every day actually was leg day. If I wasn't traveling across the country to visit family, I was always working out my legs. On the 26-week mark, I decided I was going to go mountain biking. I dusted off my bike, took the cobwebs off the spokes, and took it out for a ride with my friend Cliff. I promised that I would only go on green trails, but he convinced me to try some blues. I was a little nervous and I kept thinking about my knee, and I would say I was at about 65% to 70% confidence throughout the entire day. At the 26-week mark, just before my month 6 was about to conclude, I asked my physical therapist whether he thought I could do any pistol squats, so, to my surprise, I was able to do quite a few. I could have done more, but I needed to keep some gas in the tank for the rest of the session. So this was a video of months 2 through 6, and I'll make another video of months 7 through 9 where I did another full return to sport testing, and I'll share the entire video about that coming up soon.